Hi guys, welcome back to the Soul Podcasting Podcast, and I have some awesome ladies with me today. I have Alana and Samra, and they are awesome. Okay, so they love books, they love pop culture. They are women that are well-read. She well-read is, or well-read baddies. They have created a book club on the go, a seasonal podcast with bite-sized episodes where listeners vote on what they read each episode. And so I am here to just kind of just talk with them and see what they have to share about podcasting and about their passion for reading and how they've created community out of this. This is so awesome. So first of all, welcome to the show. Thank you both for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's exciting.
Yeah. So this is like this mission you guys have to like read and to invite others to read along with you. Where did that start? Like how did that happen?
It all started with the idea for a book club. So me and Lana were besties in college, and after college, we both were like, "Whew, what do we do after work? Like, this is dead." And so I wanted to start a book club, and Alana had just gotten into podcasts, and she was like, "Wait a minute. I know you want to do a book club, but like, what if it was a book club podcast? Like, I'm not trying to like change your idea, but like, what do you think about the idea?" And I was like, wait, that sounds kind of like less work for me. Like, I don't have to pull up anywhere. I can just like podcast from home. Is that what you're trying to tell me? And she was like, "You look like it seems that way." And then, from there we kind of like tried to learn as much as we could about podcasting. But that was kind of the beginning of it.
Right. So just kind of like we have this passion, we want to share this with other people, and let's just start. Like you just press go, and that was that.
Pretty much.
Or was there more to the story?
Well, yeah, I was going to say Samra's. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, so we started in 2019, in July of 2019, and then the world closed down the next year.
Right.
So it was kind of like perfect coincidence opportunity, because I feel like during that time, everyone was like looking for community and we're all stuck at home. So I feel like a lot of our listeners came during that time. And it's also been like over the years, we've gained community not only with like podcasters, but then like book lovers themselves and book content creators and all of that. So it's been a really interesting journey navigating between the almost two niches of podcasting and like book reading.
Yeah. Podcasting along with reading. Did you feel any type of kind of like this tug of war or push and pull with starting, or did you just feel like we're just going to launch? And if so, if you did feel a little bit of the messy in the beginning, like what was that like for you, and how did you overcome any of that?
Yeah, so we actually went to a podcast festival. It's not around anymore. It's called She Podcast. And it was a coincidence. Everything kind of fell into line when we started. Like the path kind of laid itself out in front of us organically. And so we went to this conference and we like learned so much just about like podcasting in general, to where we came home and we were like, we don't even know where to start here. Wow. What do we even tackle first? And so we kind of just like, we started with a preliminary plan and kind of just went from there. We had a friend who he kind of worked with like audio mixing and things. And we literally were recording on Samra's dinner table when we first started. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where everyone starts, at the table.
Yeah.
Pull your things together, and wherever it happens to be, your bedroom, your kitchen, you just get started.
Yeah.
I love that. That's like the messy of the beginning. And then even like the in between, like it's all just really organic, kind of, I always say grassroots, but like it really is wherever you are in your life at that moment, and sharing your passion with others. I think that's fabulous though, because you don't have to wait until you're perfect to get your message out there. You just start where you are. And I love that you guys did that. That's
Thank you. Yeah, I
awesome.
was about to say it's definitely as a type A person, it was definitely some like, okay, getting over that. This isn't going to be exactly how we want it right now,
Right.
but like we'll get
Right.
there. Let's just get started.
Yeah.
So,
So it's been 6 years
mhm.
of
This
podcasting.
wait, Tamara, no,
Almost,
2 weeks, right? In like 2 weeks.
yeah,
Yeah, it'll be
almost
6 years.
6 years. Yeah.
Wow. That's a long time. That's a long time. I've talked with a few people that have only just been doing it for like a couple months. So I think it's really cool that, I mean, six years is a while to stick with something. And then you guys are doing this together as friends. So there's another dynamic, and I might ask you about that in a minute. So that I think that's really cool. Okay, I'm going to ask you about like balancing creativity and consistency, because reading is the creative part, right? But then you have to stay consistent with the show part of it, the podcasting part, and all the technical and staying on schedule and coming up with topics and all of that. So how do you guys, I mean, I don't know if you've worked together on that or you each have your own thing that you focus on, but how do you work together to figure out what's happening when, and how do you plan your workflow?
A Google Doc.
Oh, there you go.
Our holy
That
grail.
keeps the brain together, right? The Google Doc. Yes.
Yes, Alana's type A-ness. She's the one that started the Google Doc, but
Uh-huh.
she's thick. She's got sections. We've
Wow.
got a meeting agenda in there that we'll definitely be diving into later tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what keeps us on track, honestly, is the weekly meetings. And
Mm-hmm.
I have like my own other side projects that I do. And I've just now gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, I guess I need to be doing a weekly meeting on all the things I work on, because it is a really good way to make sure like there's somebody holding you accountable, especially
Yeah.
because it's two of us. I think it helps.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the accountability helps a lot. I want to know more about your podcast though. If you can share, like, just share like some of your favorite episodes and maybe some of your favorite books, and like, yeah, just kind of give us some a little taste of what you guys offer.
Yeah, so it's definitely evolved in the past 6 years. Like,
Uh-huh.
I can imagine listening to the first episode versus listening to the episode we dropped literally today, and how different it is.
Hmm.
Um, so at first, so when we first started, it was Samra's idea for the book club. So she already kind of had a book in mind for us to do.
Yeah.
So the first 2 seasons, we actually chose those books. So Samra chose the first one, I chose the next one. And then after that, we implemented oh, well, like let's have our audience like tell us what they want to read. And
Right.
so that's when we came up with the book vote, where we got a list of books and was like, okay, you guys vote on these, curate this
Wow.
curated list. And then whichever one, gets the highest vote, that's what we'll cover in the next season of the show.
Okay.
And so we started in seasons also because the whole premise of our show is that we have very chaotic schedules and busy lives. And
Right.
so having it run seasonally, like we have our breaks times where we can like regroup what went well last season, what do we want to change. And then even further down the line, we develop bonus episodes, as we call them,
Cool.
that we drop bi-weekly on Mondays when we're out of season, just because it was like we were like, okay, this break time is great, but like we also still want to podcast and like
Right.
chat
Right.
and talk about like what's going on, because we talk a lot about pop culture, like
Hmm.
book talk drama and all
Hmm.
the things just
Hmm.
happening in the book world.
Very cool.
And so that way we have like, episodes we do with just the two of us, but then we also bring on authors, content creators, and just like a plethora of guests
Right.
on those episodes also, which is really fun.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so we don't really have like we only read like nonfiction or
Okay.
fiction, like this type of book. We always try to give a range when we do the vote. And so then whatever book is picked is really dependent on that. We just kind of go from there.
Okay.
So this next season, actually, we'll be doing our first historical fiction
Oh,
book.
fun.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it'll be an interesting dynamic, because every episode is a different chapter, or like depending on how thick the book is, we'll do like break it up in sections.
Hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how that goes with that, because we've done memoirs, we've done a lot of nonfiction, so
Yeah.
this will be interesting.
Wow. So this is a weekly or bi-weekly podcast?
So when we're in season, it's
Mhm.
weekly, and
Weekly.
then when we're out of season, it's bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly. Okay.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that you guys are creating the community and keeping everyone engaged, right? And just asking for the input of your listeners and including that in your decision making. I think that makes such a big difference. And your listeners are probably like, we feel honored that they would even ask us, like what we think and
Oh,
how we want to see this podcast play out. So I think that's great. Um, so, all right. Well, I know a lot of people listening today are thinking, we want to start a podcast. We like reading or we like music or whatever they like. And so they are thinking that maybe they want to start a show. And so, what's your advice for someone who's sitting on this great idea, but thinking of they don't have all the tools and the resources and or the time, and we all have the same amount of time available to us, but how did you do it, and what would you recommend that we do if we're thinking of starting something but we just don't think we have the time or the resources?
yes, no, that's a very good question. And I feel like sometimes it can be overwhelming to think about every single part of the whole podcast thing. But truly, like to have a podcast, all you really do need is a voice and something to record it with. So it doesn't have to be super clear. I don't feel like if I like connect with the host of a show, I'll tune in no matter what the audio quality is. I've definitely listened to shows that the entire time I listened to them, the quality was just like giving them in their like on their phone, you know?
Right,
But
right.
what they were saying is like the main part. So for me, and I guess it depends on the listener too, but there's a listener for every type of podcaster, I feel.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I love that you said that. Like, there's someone for everybody, and there's loads of podcasts out there, but everybody who's listening to a show is gravitating toward a particular type of show, and they like their host for a reason, and they fall in love with their host for a reason, and so they stick with you. And so, like you said, like as a host, when we are starting a podcast, we just have to keep in mind that there's someone for us and that we don't have to have the perfect equipment. We don't have to have all the time in the world. We just need a few minutes, really, and just use a phone if we need to record.
Yeah, I can't tell you the amount of times that we've changed our tech. Heck, we changed our tech last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's constantly evolving because I mean,
Yeah.
even like podcast technology is constantly evolving.
Constantly evolving. That's
Um,
right. And there's no way to keep up with it all. Or why would we want to? Like, I mean, always putting in money for extra, right? Investing in more and more and more. And when all we really need are the core tools. And so you guys are
yeah.
taking these tools and you're taking your time and you're investing that into your community. And that's what makes a podcast work. And I just appreciate what you do. And so, what can we expect in this next season of She Well Read? And how can our listeners support you guys as you gear up for your return?
Ooh, I always like to say chaos. We like to call ourselves chaotically
Yeah.
functional. That's a term we coined a couple seasons ago. And so it's really our show. A lot of feedback we've gotten and what we actually hope listeners get out of the show is that if this feels like you're sitting down with your two best friends talking about a book or talking about the latest what's happening in the world, or what just happened on last week's Love Island episode. So just really casual, like you're at a book club, but you're not necessarily at a like in person at a book club. And just the feeling of that, there's people out there that have similar interests to you and that see you and that, just I don't know. I can't express just like our community is the best. I love them. And just being more connected, and especially during these times where like I feel like everybody's craving connection more than ever and also an escape. I feel like reading has always been escapism to me. Just getting away from not, like paying attention to what's going on, but like having that mental threshold to like just check out for an hour, 30 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. We need that because it's everything's too serious. and
Yeah.
we just need to have a break and um and enjoy good conversation with girlfriends and sometimes we can't find that in our local community. So the fact that you're offering this virtually is just, it's perfect, right? And you'll find your people that way and your tribe is there waiting for you guys. So I love it. I'm going to ask you one more big question. And this is all about legacy. So what do you believe it means to build legacy with your voice and your platform?
Samra, I'm gonna let you go first.
I think it means showing up authentically and intentionally. And I think that's all it takes to like build a legacy of some sort. I do think it's important for legacy to like try your best to use your platform for good to some extent. I think that is helpful with a legacy that you want to like, I guess, stick. But it doesn't have to look perfect to be a really great legacy.
That's right. That's right. I agree with you completely. I love that you said it doesn't have to look perfect. And it's about showing up authentically. Just be yourself and you're making a mark on the world. So that's awesome. How can our listeners reach you guys?
Well, you can follow us everywhere at She All Red. We are She All Red on all platforms. We mainly focus, we're mostly present on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And yeah, really, we love hearing from our listeners. Also, we have this thing called voice notes that they can leave us. And so we'd love for someone to leave us. We've been like trying to pub this ever since we started, and we just haven't had anyone send us one yet. But we'd love a voice note, whether it be about a book that you're interested in that you want to share, or any suggestions you have for the show, or any comments you have on one of our episodes. We'd love to hear about it. So yeah, that's all. We're everywhere at She Will Read, and yeah, really excited for the next season to drop in August.
Yay! Thank you so much, Alana and Samra, for being here today and joining me on Soul Podcasting. You guys are great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.